Hello, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Am I
Hello,
audible?
ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, ma'am.
Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
I request everyone to begin. Kindly unmute.
Let us dream about a global commercial village, a global economy ruled and a run on the basis of humanitarian values, not on the motivation of surplus profit. Good evening, one and all. Let me take you through all the listings, what to expect in today's session. It is also the first session of the Mega Career Guidance event, Avenue 2022, #Discover You, hosted by Indian School Bosher under the aegis of Board of Directors, Indian Schools in Oman. The welcome address will be followed by a brief introduction and a video on our eminent speaker. Then we shall invite the esteemed speaker for her presentation. After the presentation, we shall request our guest speaker to answer a few questions raised by the attendees in the question and answer segment. The continuing session will be taken up by the university spokesperson. The detailing of the course available and the process of the admission will be explained in detail. We shall conclude the session with a vote of thanks. Liberalization of not only economy, but liberalization of thoughts. Globalization of not only trade and commerce, but globalization of humanity. Let trade and commerce break the barriers of limitation set by human thoughts and set the world towards the motive of one word, a global citizens.
What a fantastic quote to begin the session. Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Avenue 2022, #Discover Youth, a global career guidance program launched by Indian School Bausha under the aegis of the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Oman. On behalf of Indian School Bausha, I, Anuradha of Class 9,
And I, Prerna of Class 9,
take the proud privilege of expressing a profound gratitude to His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq Al Said for the magnanimous and noble benevolence showered on the Indian diaspora and the Sultanate of Oman. May the Almighty bestow His choicest blessings on His Majesty, and may this nation experience peace and everlasting prosperity.
we are happy to welcome all the students, parents, and teachers for being a part of Avenue 2022, #Discover You. Thank you one and all for your presence here this evening. It is with sheer joy and great pride that I take the task of introducing our speaker today, Ms. Mythili Kolluru. Dr. Mythili Kolluru is an assistant professor at the Undergraduate and Professional Studies Department, College of Banking and Financial Studies, Oman. With teaching and research experience over diverse areas of strategic management, organization studies, and international business. She has obtained a doctorate in strategic management, focusing on the relationship between strategic management and leadership. She is a certified strategic planning professional. She is the chief strategic officer at the London-based management consultancy firm. She is the author of the framework, The Strategic Thinking Wheel. She has over 2 decades of experience in academics and the cooperative world, spanning the USA, India, and the Middle East. She has published actively in ABDC, Evolusia, Emerald, Scopus, Q4, peer-reviewed journals, edited book chapters, and a book Strategic Management. She has presented at both national and international conferences. She is a reviewer, editor, and a presenter at various platforms. She actively participates in outreach initiatives nationally and internationally through her active involvement in Knowledge Oman and the Association of Strategic Planning. Today, she will be enriching us on the topic Strategic Perspective, Discover Career Path. We would like to request the audience to kindly post your queries in the Q&A box. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please join me and listen to our speaker, Ms. Mythili Kolluru, on her topic, Strategic Perspective, Discover Your Career Path. The platform is all yours, ma'am.
Thank you so much. is the PPT shared or do I have to share it?
Ma'am, you have to share the PPT.
Okay, that. Can you all see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just 1 second. Okay. Thank you and welcome to all of you for this wonderful event. I'm honored that the Indian School Brochure has invited me today to talk on strategic perspectives and how you're going to discover your career. It's a real honor to be here because I have a special connect with the students, the parents, and the teachers. I'm Dr. Mythili Kolluru, an ex-student of Indian School Dubai. I have studied in Dubai and I have studied in India. And my son also happened to have studied in the Indian schools of Muscat in Oman. So there is a special empathy and an understanding that I have towards the career crossroads that all the students are right now. So please feel free to share your questions towards the end of the session, which the moderator will be handling, because I will be answering them in the capacity of a parent, a learner, and an academician who has lived, worked, and studies across the globe in Middle East, in Asia, and in North America. So let me start with what is the main objective of my session. The objective of my session is to set a context in which you will be deciding on your career path. It's not to tell you to select a specific career, but the context in which you make a decision is very, very important. For example, let's say that you are in a room where you have mathematicians and you have scientists, and you also have some strategic planners, you have some writers, you have some photographers, you have some fashion designers. I would like the strategic planner, the photographer, and the fashion designer to stand shoulder to shoulder with the doctor. Don't look down, don't look up to any career path. Your career path is yours, chosen by you because of the interest and passion that you share. So when we look at a career path, we need to understand that each and every career path has its own possibilities, its own challenges, and its own requirements. So with this at the basis, please expect to understand what is the context in which all of you are going to make your career decisions. Yes, everybody is able to see me, hear me, and see the presentation also?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Now, we start with understanding a little about the future. So when we look at the future, we have the fourth industrial revolution, which has brought about a lot of changes in the place we work and how work has been transformed. COVID-19 has accelerated this change and the pace of transformation that is happening. Workplaces have changed. How we live, work, play, and think has changed because of technology. And like one of the young girls was saying about globalization of trade, and not only globalization of trade, she well said it, that is globalization of thought. So that leads me to the next slide, which I'm going to share some disruptions in skills and some facts and figures, which will help you to understand better. 42% of the world core skills that people are doing in their existing jobs are going to change in the next 5 years. Almost all the skills that we are developing have a skill lifespan, like our products and services. They are for around 3 to 5 years. And by 2030, 65% of college graduates will be working in jobs which are non-existent today when we are having this session. And almost 1/3 of all the jobs are going to be touched, influenced by technology or digitization. Now, this brings us to the point of the skill gap. Now, we are all learning and we are all in the process of understanding what career we want to develop. We are going to schools, we are attending colleges, we are getting certification. In all these aspects, there is an element of a skill gap, which you will find after you join your job in a year or so. And the skill gap is because we need to be aware of the changes that are happening in our respective area or in our chosen field of study. So there is a skill gap which academicians, which universities and colleges are trying to fill. As students, you play a major role in helping to reduce the skill gaps. We can't do it alone without your support. So your participation in reducing the skill gap understanding what is required is very, very important. Now, I'm going to start by taking you through 7 perspectives, strategic perspectives on career thinking. Should you have a doubt, as and when you have it, you can just type it out in the chat and the moderator will be able to look at it towards the end. So it's difficult at the end to remember what you had in your mind. So please feel free and start typing. The first perspective is strategic career thinking is a process of learning and work. Don't look at strategy don't look at career as a ladder. You have to look at it as a jungle gym. What's a jungle gym? A jungle gym is a place where you have many options to build your personality. Same way, your career is your option. It builds your personality. It's not just one path. You take BPC and you think that's it. I have to get into MBBS. No, that's not the option. There are many streams within the science stream. There are many options within science. So career is not always just one ladder. Instead, you need to develop some constructive thoughts rather than restrictive perspectives. I was just going through the panel list and I observed that just before my session, we had an actor. So that's a constructive thought. That's different. And we also had somebody who was sharing that MBBS is not the only option for a student who takes a science stream. So your options are many these days. You need to explore, you need to develop bigger, brighter ideas. And don't compare professions. Don't compare career paths. Instead, commit yourself to your choice, to your career path. The second perspective I want to talk about is that career development is a lifelong process. I don't think many of us really understand the meaning of career development as a lifelong process, because you think I made my career when I decided to join commerce in my 11th and 12th grade, but it's not like that. The reality of life is a little different. Your career development is going to be a long journey. It starts from a very young age and you grow with it. You understand what you like, you grow into it. So your strategic development in your career is going to take its own journey and it's going to be there with you for a very long time. You make career moves and career changes and career realizations as you enter your university, or maybe once you pass out, you realize you want to do something else. You want to become an entrepreneur after studying your master's. You don't want to work. But when you started your MBA, you wanted a job. So you will experience changes across various ladders in your life. And you are still just like a budding flower. You're so young and you have a wonderful opportunity to explore yourself through your career development. So don't think it's finished because you finished your 10th standard and you joined something. Or maybe you wrote an exam after the 12th and you didn't get through this university that you want. It's okay. There is a long, beautiful journey for you, and you have to be patient to experience the growth through all your learnings. Could be in your 10th, in your master's, in your degree. Even myself, maybe I'm in for a career change. Maybe I had a career change at this age also. And when I look of career development as a long-term process, the person who comes closest to me is within my own inner circle, and it's my father-in-law. He has had a very good career in public relations all his life. And after his retirement, he took a break and thought, what should I do next? And at his age, because of his energy, a person who is very positive, he decided to join a non-profit organization and contribute to their growth. And he is also earning in the process. So if he can have a career and a prosperous and very happy career after retirement at the age of 70, we all can explore our own career paths through the journey of life. So understand the career is not starting or stopping at 10th, 12th degree, university, doctorate. No, no, no. You find your own career growth in your own journey. That's the second one. The third perspective is the one which is of more interest to you and it's more valuable, because here I would like to discuss on how you are going to understand what is your career, in the sense that we're talking about career is a path, it's a development. So how do I arrive at it? So here you need to do a little work. You need to understand what are your strengths and your weaknesses. I'm sure you've heard of SWOT. If not, you've heard of this word, strengths and weaknesses. But how many of you have taken a pencil and pen and actually written down, these are my strengths. I think I can do this better. I can't do it. So you have to do the exercise and you have to do it. Then you will know what is your passion. With that in mind, you will be able to envision your future. What is your future career going to look like? In this process, you need to do a lot of reflection. You need to understand what you're good at, what your interests are, and you need to search for careers. Today, we have a lot of opportunities, especially because of globalization, internet, and the pandemic showing us that we don't need to go to work to work. We can work from where we are. We are interacting today with many people across the world because of internet, because of technology, because of Zoom. So these are all changing, and this is opening up so many opportunities. You really need to be aware. And then you need to do something called mapping. And in this process, I don't want you to do it alone because you are not. You have a beautiful ecosystem in the form of parents, in the form of siblings, peers, your universities, your schools, your student counselors, and most important, your teachers. We are all here to help you to decide on your career. So it's up to you to say, can you help me? Can you help me to do this? This is what I feel. This is what I think I'm good at. So you have to go for an inclusive policy and take all these people in your journey so that you arrive at a better pathway for yourself. Now, this is a career decision-making grid that I have developed, which I'm briefly going to talk to you about. You have many other grids available, I'm sure, on the net. You can speak to your teachers and get it out. But this career grid is like a swimming pool. Now, if you want to learn swimming, I can show you the strokes here, but it's not enough. You have to jump into the pool if you want to learn swimming. So you have to really jump into this grid and you have to get your hands dirty and you have to write many things and rub many things and figure out the whole grid. Then only you will be able to actually develop your career. So let's quickly go through them because I'm sure we're all pressed out for time. So in the first column, you have career options. Now I've listed the emerging career options, which are upcoming, like being an entrepreneur. Countries are focusing on not only job, but are also focusing and want the citizens to focus on entrepreneurship, small scale, micro, small scale industries. Fashion, sports are also careers where you can make a career. Clinical sciences, arts, music, banking, fashion, medicine, engineering are some of the traditional careers. I have not listed all, so you are free to choose the career options that you think could be suitable for you. The second column talks about technical skills. Now, every career path has its own requirement. There will be specific technical skills that you need to acquire, so write them down. The second column, essential skills. We say, oh, these are just essential skills, they are not important. Emotional intelligence is not important. But it is not important. It is the most important skill that we all need to have, no matter who we are, what stage we are. 9th standard, 12th standard, intermediate, degree, 60 years, 50 years, 40 years, whatever your age is, whatever profession you are in, you have to have essential skills and not to be taken lightly. So know what are the essential skills. And these essential skills have been identified by worldwide organizations, World Economic Forum, saying that these are the skills that are going to ensure that people have a successful career down the line. So you need essential skills. But what kind of essential skills would you be needing? You need to research. Another column takes us to two factors, which is called internal context, and then it is called external context. What do we mean by internal? Each one of us has a certain socio, cultural, and economic environment or ecosystem in which we are. And we have to understand that, is this internal going to match with my career? Will I be able to match my internal context, and my career option together? If not, can I actually raise myself above? That's a choice you have to make. And what about the external environment? That's a very big thing. For example, like I was talking in the second slide, what is the future going to be like? What is the situation we are in right now? The whole world is recovering or on the path to recovery from the pandemic. But 2023 might not be so progressive, we don't know. There are talks in different circles in economics and other professors where we are heading for a recession. Some of the advanced countries of the world are in for recession. So this is an external context that is happening. So maybe this will increase the prices of some of my career options. It might open more doors or it might close some doors. So be aware of the external context and how does that specific external context affect you in your profession, in your career thoughts. And the last but least, the most important column is me. Am I happy? Do I feel a joy that I'm getting up and I'm running every day as a sportsman? Do I really enjoy the creativity that comes with designing a beautiful dress? Do I enjoy clinical sciences? Do I love the microscope and like to work with it? Who am I and how happy I am in my career options? Rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 5. That I feel very happy. I mean, I would give myself 6. So that means you really love this area. And the most important thing when you work on this grid is please be critical of yourself. This is like a mirror. It's showing you your career choices. So let's not lie to ourselves. Let's be very honest and make a critical evaluation. In this whole point where we are talking about grid and career decision making, like I said, again, an inclusive policy. Take your parents in this journey. Take your friends, your siblings, and your teachers, your student counselors, your colleges, and you have a lot of universities that are giving you immense information and options. Listen to them also. So then your career options not widen much. Now that we have done a little thinking and understood what we would like to do, we can write down our career vision. What would you like, to see yourself in the future? Generally, we concentrate a lot on the answers. What is the answer? What is the answer? Instead, you have to ask yourself the right question. What is the talent that I have? And what can I do with this talent? Always, maybe it's difficult to find what you can do with your talent as to how you can channelize it and search for it in a career. You're good at writing. Okay, so what? So what are the options if you are someone who's winning in all the essays and getting almost like top grades in writing? So what options do you have? How does it open up doors for you? And do you think that this passion or this talent that you have will take you way into the future? What do you think you're going to do with this writing? Is there something substantial that you can do? You need to think about all these. And when you do that, you have to put the paper and the pen together and you have to write down your career vision. And remember, this is not something that's a final statement that you don't visit again. I think you need to visit it every year minimum, because you will have new experiences, you will listen to new people, you will interact and you will grow. So this is a statement you keep developing through your life, even as you join your profession. And this is a very important perspective, which talks about commit yourself to learning. So learning does not stop with the book open and does not close with the book closed. Learning is beyond your school. Learning is much more than the books. It's how you learn from where you learn. You can learn from this session. You can learn from me by connecting to me later, maybe. You can learn from your teacher. You can learn from your friends, your neighbors, your family. Your parents are probably the best example from whom you learn a lot. Newspapers, articles. If you travel, I'm sure we all go for vacations. Don't you learn new things? Don't you experience new things? That is also learning. That's the meaning of committing yourself and being a lifelong learner and doing it a little more consciously. Participating in some activity. All of you are involved in many extracurricular activities. You learn a lot in this process also. The reason for that is because you can look at the 70-20-10 learning model, which says that 10% is formal learning and 20% is to relationships. I have a lot of interaction with students, with clients and other people. And there's a lot of learning that I have also. I learn from the relationships and people learn from me, I learn from them. So the same thing applies to you. You have to learn from the people you meet. And 70% is hands-on. What are you doing? You said you have a writing skill. So what are you doing about it? Let's say you're very good with hands, you like sciences. So what did you do? Did you do a small project? Even doing a small project, building a volcano or trying to come up with an electric circuit is 70% hands-on experience. So the learning model is 70-20-10. The sixth one is to be aware. We are all in an age of internet and technology revolution, which is throwing us a lot of information. So grab the opportunities, understand what is the scope for your passion, for your interest. And always remember that when you make a plan, please leave a little room for something called, I don't know. I don't know what is going to happen tomorrow. None of us expected the pandemic. None of us expected the changes that we have experienced in the last 3 years. Were we prepared for it? Maybe we were, maybe we weren't. So now that we know that change is going to happen more frequently, let's leave some room saying, okay, something might happen, let me be open and take calculated risks. You have to take some risk in order to experience something new. My seventh perspective is do it. We can talk about it, we can write about it, we can think about it, but we can be successful in our career paths only if we take some small steps. Take action, do it. Do it what? And do it how? So first of all, create your own digital identity. Could be on Instagram, could be on Snapchat, LinkedIn. I don't think I need to talk about all this to the students. They know everything. And learn additional skills. So skills that you learn in your school, the subjects that you learn with, in addition to that, you need to develop critical skills. Like I told you earlier, that there is a skill gap that we are experiencing as academicians, as industry people. We experience some skills that the people are lacking. So learn those skills while you are in your younger days and be aware of opportunities. There are a lot of new opportunities. And like I said, many of the professions are going to completely change. So be aware, keep learning and keep reading. And try to keep increasing your learning with some certificates, with some degrees. Now, there are so many online opportunities. As you're going to see and you're going to listen to many university people talk about the various opportunities present. And one more thing is we need to stay tuned to what is happening in my industry. What are the options that are available for an artist? Could be fashion designing, could be graphic designing. I don't know. We need to explore it together. We need to explore it with our inclusive approach, and we need to know what's happening in our industry. My specific interest, what is your specific interest? What you think of it and how you want to make of it. Another option not so explored by our community is identifying a mentor. I have not seen this that much as I've seen it in other countries. So you need to be proactive to look at people and personalities you meet and identify them, connect with them, and try to request them, can you be my mentor? And mentor is not somebody who's going to be with you forever. He's like a developmental coach. So maybe you associate with somebody for a few years because you see, they are also like me. For example, you have aspirations to be into the civil services. So we had one session where somebody was a retired veteran was talking about IAS exams and how to approach the civil service. So you're interested in that, then he would be a good person to somebody to identify with and look if he's available and can he be your mentor. So you have to explore the options of being mentors. Another way to grow intrinsically is for outreach activities. Do something which doesn't have an end. Contribute, plant a tree, engage with your community wherever you are so that you can add something and it'll be a learning experience for you also. Now, this slide is actually based on one of my own research that I've recently done. It's a paper that I worked on with a few co-authors, and it's called Emerging Change, Exploring the New Economy Paradigm, where we talk about the new normal. This was done as a presentation in one of the Western European countries. And this is just one table that I presented it in a different way. The table is very relevant for you because we have done this survey around 16 countries with a large sample size. And these are the skills that are identified by industry, by corporates, that we want our young generation to have. So these are the skills you need to be surely looking upon, no matter what your career is. These are those essential skills. Like, I'll just quickly go through them and focus on one in particular. Digital literacy, data analysis, self-learning, that you have to be a self-learner, emotional intelligence, critical thinking, problem-solving skills, and again, digital communication. So there's a little difference between digital literacy and digital communication. How comfortable are we with our cameras on, and how well we are able to communicate in a digital landscape or in a digital environment? What are the tools? Do we know how to use the tools? Digital literacy, do you know the technologies that are there? Resilience and adaptability. Among all these, the one that stands out, and in our research, it is shown that this skill was found as a requisite for employees, for organizations, and for individuals. And it is emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is the most essential skill that we all need to develop in order to be successful in our chosen career path. So like I said, my whole presentation is about a context in which you will take your decision. You will make your career path. And you need to have these skills. Then you decide what you want to be. You want to be an engineer, you want to be a fashion designer, you want to be a photographer, you want to work in the radio. You just like colors and you want to play around with colors. You want to be an artist. So what is it that you want to be has to be decided in a specific path. It's not something that just happens with a click of a finger. You need to think about it and you need to develop it. It is your career. You have to identify your passion and take definite steps. Now, many of you are going for examinations and you are thinking that if I give my 100%, I do my absolute best in that entrance exam, that's it, I'm going to be a winner. So it's not giving 100% to one exam, but it is giving 1% to every exam that you have done in your life and giving that 1% more. Do a little more in the class test, in the next project work, in the next. And then when you come to the final exam, which you feel is your deciding one, you will automatically do well. But you just cannot get up and say, no, next week I have an exam and that's it. I'm going to give my 100% day and night. Sorry, guys, it's not going to work like that. You have to put in a daily effort. You have to do everyday efforts, and that's how you build a progressive, sustainable career. No pain, no gain. So you have to you will face some pain, you will face some challenges, reflect on it, learn from it. The best teacher is your life. The best teacher is pain. Might sound harsh, but that's the reality. So reflect on your learnings, on your relationships, experience everything, and in the process, decide what you want to be. And don't think that this is the end. This is just the beginning for you, and your career is very long. You will make many changes, you will see many ups and downs. So your career path is not a destination or a decision you take in your 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th only, but it could be something that you are going to experience in the future. Thank you for listening to me. I'm Dr. Mythili Kolluru, and please ask me your questions. For any reason you feel a little uncomfortable, you're a little shy, you don't want to ask me, you can always reach out to me at my email, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Whichever you are comfortable in, I would be more than happy to work with you, to help you to find your career path. Anytime, any day, send me an email, but give me around 24 hours to give you a reply. Thank you so much for listening to me. It was an honor to interact with all of you. I'm open for any questions. Thank you so much.
That was an extraordinary and inspiring session by you, madam. Your creative and fun-filled session
I'm
enlightened
sorry, I
us.
can't hear you.
Am I audible?
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, I can hear
Can
you.
you hear us? Oh, okay, fine.
Yes, yes.
Shall we proceed, ma'am?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. That was an extraordinary and inspiring session by you, madam. Your creative and fun-filled session enlightened us and kept each one of us entertained. Now, we would like to request our speaker, Ms. Mythili, to kindly answer a few questions put forth by the audience. May I invite the moderator of the session, Ms. Gino Mary, to pose some questions from the audience to you. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, the comparing team. And good evening, ma'am. And first of all, I would like to comment that it was a very informative session. And we would really like to appreciate your patience and the passion by which you explained the importance of designing a career graph and how early we can start with it. This was just like an insightful session for all of us, ma'am. So we have some queries from the audience side. Okay, we'll go ahead with the first question. This is related to change in the interest as we age and as our environment change. A person's interest, his strength, everything changes, isn't it? So at that point of time, changing his career is going to be a little bit difficult. So how to cope up with this situation?
So this question needs to be answered in the sense at which stage of life are we in? At a younger stage, it's much more easy because you're still growing. And the later we go, yes, you are right. As for example, if you're going to change your career after you make a job, after you join your job, after you are into it. But still, there are many changes that people do make. For example, I know so many engineers who are in pure engineering. That means, let's say they have done mechanical, they are done chemical engineering or another engineering. But they are now in a totally different stream. They are very successful financially, emotionally. They're all settled in life. So they have made those changes. So you come at a career crossroad in different points in your life. So you have to make the change. Like I said, depending on what your environment is, you choose to go according to the stream, or you decide to rise above the environment and you make that extra effort. Like you set yourself stretch goals and you say, yes, I want to make this change. The challenge is not in shifting the career, but in deciding that I want to do it. Once you have decided you want to do it, then you can do it. But that's the issue, that can I commit to it?
Thank you very much, ma'am. The next question is related to the triangular relationship between a student, school, and parent. So here, this is a question from the audience sessions, like suggest some ways that can help institutions like schools, or to suggest some methods in which they can help students and parents to design a better career graph. The ways in which school can guide them in this scenario.
Sure. So one way is to conduct workshops. So probably for the parents first, because as much as the students also need to develop a career, parents also need to open up. Parents also need to understand that students are changing, opportunities are new, and that today it is very much possible to develop a career in the unconventional areas and unconventional paths which we are not aware of. So parents, students, and educational institutions need to open up their mindset and think of the options. So best thing would to conduct a parent session, first of all, to let them understand that they have to listen and find a middle path as to what could be a progressive career for a young child or a young person, because it's not always that they know what is right. Maybe they're not able to judge themselves. Instead of criticizing them, we need to give constructive feedback so that they find their path. So conducting workshops for the parents and also conducting more sessions for students in a shorter audience. A larger audience makes it difficult to touch upon each student. So the class teacher could engage like you are doing now, on a monthly basis or on a yearly basis, a session with the students probably from their 8th standard. The teacher itself could do a session just to educate them to explore themselves further. So workshops for parents, workshops for children, and maybe workshops for parents, children, and teacher together, so that we can explore. Maybe student thinks she's good at something, but the teacher will say, no, no, I think that this is your skill. I have seen you perform better. So you have to have short, frequent, and smaller groups of interactions between parents, schools and children. But I think the challenge would be the constraint of time frame and availability of parents, students, and teachers. But something can be worked out, I'm sure.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Due to time constraint, we are winding up with the Q&A session. Thank you once again for patiently answering our queries. Over to you, comparers.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for all your support and guidance given to the large audience by attending to their concerns so patiently during the course of discussion.
Avenir is a global career guidance event to empower students and assist them in identifying their ideal future career path. It was conceptualized by the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Sultanate of Oman. The first Avenir was organized at Indian School Al Mabala in the year 2018. In 2019, Indian School El Seeb conducted the program. Indian School Muscat conducted the first virtual Avenir in the year 2020. Avenir 2021 was conducted virtually by Indian School Al Wadi Al Kabir. In 2022, the flagship school in Oman. Indian School Bosher is all set to fly the flag higher by conducting Avenir 2022 in hybrid mode. Our impeccable planning, devoted team, unmatched resources guarantee a memorable event. The 5-day event will be held from Thursday, October 13, 2022 to Tuesday,
It is time for us to move on the second part of the session. Let us watch a video and a PowerPoint presentation on Dallas Baptist University.
I kindly request the IT group to kindly play the video again.
Hello.
And now it's time to meet the university spokesperson, John C. Pendergrass. Mr. John C. Pendergrass has completed his MBA in marketing from Dallas Baptist University and BBA in management from Texas Tech University. He is currently a part of Dallas Baptist University, currently heading as the director, the Center for Career and Professional Development. Senior Business Development Execute with 15 years of multifaceted experience in building and strategic partnership and leading transformational relationship across diverse non-profit and for-profit industries, engaged in developing powerful terms with communities for greater process efficiency and results-driven outcomes. Yielded a 1600% increase in a student participation by improving the department's strategic communications, leveraging new text message, software, technologies, and community effectively with the college student demographic. Successfully established a 600% increase in faculty participation through leveraging bonded relationship and carrying out a personal grassroots approach to recruitment. Expertly drafted proposals to 100 plus company executive management terms to offer scholarship via reduction in tuition upwards of 20% sustained partnership and development opportunities. Served as the executive development manager to support an annual budget of 350,000 successfully. Fundraised approximately 1 million within 3 years tenure. He is also a humanitarian. Some of his novels contributes to humanity as the whole increases. Institution of The Call, speaking coach and co-creator at Dallas Baptist University, which provides students a venue to practice the art of public speaking to improve communication skills. He also served the director of local mission at the village church, strategies to mobilize and enrich thousands of lives who serve within the community. We are joyous to welcome Mr. John C. Pendergrass to represent the Dallas Baptist University to enlighten us with the various course and procedures.
Thank you
Over
very
to
much.
you, sir.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here for the Discover You conference. And it's a pleasure to always speak with friends and our international friends around the globe. As mentioned, my name is John Pendergrass. I serve as the director of the Center for Career and Professional Development here at Dallas Baptist University in Dallas, Texas. It is early morning here, and I understand that this is the end of your day, so I will try to go through this quickly, but give you something really informative to take with each of you as you go about your evening. If it would be okay, I would love to share my screen. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So share screen. Okay, for some reason, it's not letting me share my screen. Oops.
Excuse me, sir. I request the IT department to kindly grant the access as possible.
Sure. That's
Should
okay.
I get a response from the IT team?
Sure. I'm just having an issue seeing my screen.
Yeah.
We'll get
Yes,
through this.
sir,
It'll be okay. We'll yeah, if you can ask IT to assist, that would be great.
Yes, sir. Just give us a second. Requested the access point from IT's support team.
No worries. I just have
Yes.
a presentation
Thank
that I
you.
would love to share.
Sir, can you just try now?
Yeah. Share screen. Yeah. Yeah, for some reason, Google Chrome. Okay.
Is it possible, sir?
Yeah, for some reason it's just not working, but you know what?
Okay.
I can speak through it. And how about
Okay,
we just do that? Would that work?
Okay, fine, sir. Okay,
Yeah,
fine.
Yeah.
So sorry for that, sir. You may
That's
please
okay.
continue ahead. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, so today I wanted to talk to each of you about something that is very important. Here at Dallas Baptist University, we always strive to, we're building in and investing in leaders. We're home here in Dallas, Texas, to hundreds of international firms. There are many, many corporations that are housed here. So our university is placed right in the middle of all of these companies, firms, international firms, nonprofits, faith-based institutions. And so with us being strategically placed right in the middle of that, we feel it's very important for students to have really practical knowledge. So what I want to share with you today, and I really wish I could use my presentation. I do apologize for that. This is what happens from time to time with IT. You have to roll the punches. But I want to talk to you guys about leadership and leaders asking great questions. And when we think about commerce, commerce is really defined as social dealings between people. So when you think about this particular breakout session, it fell underneath the commerce section. But there's this thing that I learned once when I went to a conference here in Dallas, Texas, back in 2011, and I wrote down these questions. There were 7 questions that I wrote down. And there was a man here in the United States. His name is John Maxwell. And John really is a leader amongst leaders here in the United States. He has authored many, many books, and many people will come from around the country to come and hear John speak on management, on leadership, on commerce, on economics. It's very, very interesting. I had the opportunity to visit with John, and I wrote down 7 questions that he said that anytime you're with an influencer, anytime you meet with somebody who's influential, that you would use that opportunity to ask questions.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you just try now to share your PPT?
Yeah. So I'm just clicking on share screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when I open it up, it just says it's a bunch of warning labels and it says unknown. So I click on it and I click share. And it says open system preferences. And for some reason, screen recording. Yes, it does not allow me to. Usually this isn't an issue. Yeah, for some reason, it's just simply not. Is there any way we can grant screen access or access for somebody to look in my computer? Is that an option or no?
No, just give us a second, sir. We'll just communicate with the IT department. Yep.
Yep. Let me try it one more time.
Excuse me, sir. Is it possible to share it with some of any of our team members, either through WhatsApp or through mail?
You know what? I think, forgive me, can you repeat that question one time?
Yeah, sir, can you just share your PPT with any of our team member through WhatsApp or through email?
Yeah, I can. Are you thinking about using a different computer?
No, sir, it's okay. If you can just send it to any of our teammates, it will be helpful to us.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Okay,
Yeah.
let me look at WhatsApp. Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, yes, sir, yeah.
Okay, 1 second. Okay. Okay, can you do me a favor?
Yes, sir.
Can you have somebody send me a WhatsApp email address? I'm having an issue with sending this via WhatsApp.
Oh, okay, fine.
Is that a possibility where I can just email? I can
Yes,
forward
sir.
it. Let me just do this. I'm just going to forward it via.
Oh, okay, sir. You may please continue, sir.
Okay, I'll do this. Give me just 1 second here. Give me
Okay.
1 second.
Yes.
Okay, I have sent my presentation to Jinu Mary. I've sent that to her. So if we could share that, that'd be great. It would really help in this
Okay,
presentation.
okay, sir. Yes, we'll try it. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It's a via mail, isn't it?
I'm sorry?
It's via Gmail, isn't it, sir?
I sent it to the facilitator 165 at isboman.com.
Okay.
I do apologize. Normally I don't have issues with Zoom.
Yes, just give us a second, okay, sir? Sorry for the
Certainly.
interruption.
That's it.
Okay, sir, is it, can you view it now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, fine, yes. Okay, sir. Is it okay if I put in the slideshow mode?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Sorry for the inconvenience.
No, that's completely fine. And will I have ability to change slides? Or will that controlled by you?
Okay, sir, just give me the instruction. I will be doing it.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, well, let's just start over one more time. You know, this happens from time to time. For those of you who are still with us, I appreciate it.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Stage is all yours. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, leaders ask great questions. If you'll hit the next slide. Well, I wanted to start out with a story. How many of you have ever had to tackle a complex problem and you did not know where to begin? Part of my journey is when I was your age, when I was in high school, I worked for this company. It was called Best Buy. Best Buy stores were all over the United States. I was 17 years old. I worked for this company. They sold computers, televisions. A great deal of commerce would take place here at the store. A lot of money was exchanged in hands. And every year we had the same problem. During one of our American holidays, during the Christmas season, we would have thousands of customers show up to our store. You can go to the next slide. And they would be waiting in our parking lot. And you could go to the next slide so that if you could see there's so many different people. Well, this image is from the problem that we experienced. And every person in the line would begin to back up, and it would clog all of the shopping space, which created a real problem. It would make customers very upset. So I served at a very young age as the operations supervisor. So I began to go through and figure out, how am I going to solve this problem? How am I going to manage this situation? So I walked into that crowd and I began talking to our customers, and I asked the question, how would you solve this problem? What is it that you most do not like about this situation? And many people said, I do not like the fact that one cashier may be slower than the other, or that one cash register will take longer than the other. So I solved the problem by listening and asking questions. I took part in a nationwide problem-solving initiative that Best Buy had. And I created a solution for the problem that was adopted here in the United States that now all retailers will use for crowd control. If you'll go to the next slide, every single store received what I had learned, and they began training all of their employees getting ready for the holiday seasons. And this is what we actually ended up doing. If you'll go to the next slide, is that they got rid of all the registers, and we began putting everybody in one line and one person at a time, where the line was constantly moving. So every time a register became available, the next person would move. It created more space. Now, as a young teenager, I was able to solve that problem. And many of the American companies have now used this solution where they put out these basic ropes. So the point of this is I wanted to start out with my lesson with leaders ask great questions. And all I did was take a very upset customer and ask, what would you do differently? And they said, I want to move constantly. At least I know if I'm moving that I'm going to be a happy person. So this created more space. We had less registers, and everybody is happy now. You can go to the next slide. So where do we begin? I would like to tell you about my journey. I started out in my undergrad, I was mentioned in the beginning, at a school in West Texas called Texas Tech. And that's a picture of me. And I was a very young man graduating from college, and I had the whole world in front of me, and I was curious about what I was going to do next. The man that's in that picture with the red shirt on below was actually a mentor of mine. And he was a great man. And I learned so many different things from him. But one of the greatest lessons that he taught me is that when you're with somebody of influence, whether it be somebody in a political power, a professor, a business leader, whoever that may be, a spiritual leader, whatever, that when you spend time with them or you get the opportunity to sit in front of them, that I want to encourage all of you to ask great questions. Now, many students will come into my office and not know where to begin. They'll have my complete attention. However, they don't know what questions to ask. Today, I'm going to give you 7 questions that I learned from somebody. If you'll go to the next screen. After I graduated from college, I went and worked for a company here in the US called Boeing Aerospace. And I worked my way up. And as a young man, I began to manage a team at our transportation management center. There's a picture of it right there. And at a very young age, I began to manage 14 people. There was 14 direct reports. And as I began to influence and as I began to learn to lead in that space, one of the most common feedback that I would receive from my employees who worked directly for me and reported to me was that I don't ask them enough questions. They were so curious as to why I would not ask them about them. How can I improve the way that their workspace operates? What makes them tick? How is their family? What would they need from a leader? And it was very eye-opening. And so I thought back to my mentor who said, leaders ask great questions. And so I began to ask them questions about their family life. I began to ask them questions about how can we make this run more efficiently, like I did at Best Buy when I was a teenager. And we had a phenomenal team, but they taught me something, is that it's not just asking leaders questions, is when you become a leader, you have to learn to ask the right questions. Can you go to the next screen, please? During that same time when I worked for Boeing Aerospace, I joined a youth group of high school students who are your age. These are American high school students. And whenever I began spending lots of time with them, the theme came up again, is we love spending time with you as a leader. You're our leader. You volunteer here, but when are you going to ask us questions about us? And so the theme is, I kept seeing this thing come up as a leader, as I attempted to lead, is what questions do I need to ask? Okay, next slide. So where do we begin? Where did I get these questions from? You could hit the next slide. I was at the Catalyst conference here in Dallas, Texas, at this building right here. I'll never forget. And I met this man named John Maxwell. You could go to the next slide. He was speaking at this conference before about 3,000 people who all came to listen to him speak. And when he began to speak, he talked about influencing. He started speaking about commerce. He began to speak about business. And when he spoke, he said, you know, if you want to be a powerful business leader of influence and to make a real difference, you need to learn to ask great questions. And I thought, well, there is that opportunity again. He's about to teach me questions that I can start asking when I'm with an influencer. I thought about my mentor who told me the same thing. Well, here is one of the USA's greatest leaders in business management telling me, I'm going to give you 7 questions that anytime you as a student, as a leader, as a director, as a university leader, if you spend time with somebody who is of influence, make sure you ask them these 7 questions. So I'm going to share those with you. You can go to the next slide, please. But I want to talk to you about something else in It's called social capital. When you think about capital in general, you think about money. You think about the ability to buy things. But social capital is a little bit different. You do have the ability to gather it and collect it. And how it is defined is social capital is about the value of social networks, bonding with similar people and bridging between diverse people with norms of reciprocity. And that reciprocity word means basically that we're going to share, we're going to go back and forth. In other words, in financial terms, social capital comprises the value of social relationships and networks that complement the economic capital for economic growth of an organization. Basically, when I worked for Best Buy and I went out and started interacting with that customer, I didn't have to do that. But what the result was is I made it more efficient and I made a very happy customer. But what if we age out and I'm no longer working for Best Buy and I own my own company? It's good to start building a network of people who are like-minded or people who are very diverse and completely different from me, people with different backgrounds, people who have more money than me, people who have less money than me, people who have doctorate degrees, people who are lawyers. I have to meet with these people in order to build social capital. I begin to build friendships in this network, which is a very powerful tool, and that you will all discover this whenever you become college students soon. And I want to share with you, when you get the opportunity to start growing your network, these are the questions that you'll want to start with when you meet with your first influential meeting. Okay, next slide, please. So 7 questions that I ask. I got these from John Maxwell. You can't find them on Google because he just spoke them from personal experience. I looked all over. He doesn't include them in any of his books. So I'm glad that I wrote these down. So let's start with the very first question that I like to ask when I am sitting down in an important meeting with somebody who has given me a few minutes of their time and they are very influential. So first question, you can go to the next slide. Question number 1, and you can write these down and I can always provide these, but what is the greatest lesson you have ever learned? This is so incredibly easy, I understand, but it's very important. Like I said, so many students come into this office that I'm sitting in right now, and they don't know where to begin with me. They don't know how to build a relationship with me. They don't understand how to leverage the meeting that they have made with me, and they may only get 15 minutes with me or maybe 30 minutes. So I wish they would ask me these questions. But what is the greatest lesson you have ever learned? And the reason why I like this question is that every leader, regardless if they're just beginning or if they've been around for a great deal of time, they have all failed. They have all failed in what they are attempting to do or accomplish. So they're going to love this question because it's telling them, like, I know you've learned lessons. You would not be where you're at today without it. Question number 2, what are you learning now? That is a great question because now they're learning something. I learn something new every single day. Question number 3 is, how has failure shaped your life? When you sit down with an influencer, say, I'm just really curious. One of the questions that I wrote down for you is, how has failure shaped your life? Can you ever tell me about a time that you have just completely failed? Because I would love to learn from anything that you've learned in that experience. Leaders love it when you ask this question. Okay, the next question is very important to me. This is one that has really helped me grow my network. And this is, who do you know that I should know? Always ask this question. You say that you've asked those first 3, and then you get to this question. Is, okay, I've heard that you like business. I heard that you like finance. I heard that you liked computer science. You've listened to me speak. Who do you know in your network that I should know? And would you mind introducing them to me? I can't tell you how many wonderful meetings have come out of this. So if you go to your next slide, I'm going to share with you briefly, and then we'll move on, some of the incredible relationships that I've made. When she read off my bio, when I first started this presentation, she mentioned that I fundraised $1 million in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time. And that elderly man on the left, wearing the blue shirt, looking down, his name is Gene. And I was meeting with a friend, and I said, who do you know that I should know if I'm trying to fundraise? And he said, you should meet a man named Gene. And I just met with him. I sat down with him, and he started talking and asking him these questions. And he goes, well, how can I help you? And I said, sir, if I'm going to ask the question, I need 250,000 US dollars. He liked me so much that he pulled out a check, and he wrote me a check for 250,000 US dollars just because I asked the question. The lady in the middle wearing the orange dress, that is one of the wealthiest oil tycoons in the United States. Her husband is called T. Boone Pickens, and she started an oil company with her husband, and Chili's Bar and Grill, and many American businesses. And because I asked the question, who do you know that I should know? It led to a meeting with this lady and this man. I will never forget that opportunity. So I'm beginning to grow my network. One of the things that I love here in the United States is politics. I love being involved in public policy. The man on the far right was a former US candidate for the president of the United States. His name is Senator Ted Cruz. He's a United States senator. He's very influential here in the US. But I asked a friend, well, who do you know that I should know? He goes, you know, you love politics. Let me introduce you to somebody I know named Ted Cruz. So I got to have dinner with a presidential candidate for the president of the United States. And I sat down and had a 30-minute dinner with him just because I knew the questions to ask. Can you go to the next screen? We're almost done with this presentation. Another person I met is the president of Dallas Baptist University. His name is Dr. Adam Wright. He leads our wonderful university here in Dallas, Texas. And because I asked that question, I would have never had the opportunity to meet such a man. If you'll go to the next screen. And now I work here, you could go to the next screen. I work here at Dallas Baptist University, which is a beautiful campus. We got several more questions, and then we'll end with a Q&A. What have you read that I should read? What have you read that I should read? You're going to get so many different responses from different leaders. Some leaders will give you science fiction reading. Some will give you more serious business reading. It depends, but it really is trying to get to the heart of, when I'm sitting with you, I'm trying to understand who you are, not from a high level, but a surface, not surface level, but a depth level. I'm trying to really become a friend with you. What have you read that I should read? Question number 6 and question number 7. You could go to the next one. What have you done that I should do? Now, from a leader's perspective, they're going to think, well, that's a great question. Let me tell you what I think you should do, young lady or young man. I think you should go and do this or try this because what you've shared with me. You're going to get some incredible feedback on how to grow as an entrepreneur, how to grow as an influencer, how to grow as a leader, how to grow as a student, academically, professionally. Always ask that question. And then lastly, question number 7. How can I add value to you? Now, you're going to throw the person that you're having coffee with or a meeting with or virtually like what you and I are doing today. But when you ask this question, it really sets you apart as a young leader. is how can I personally add value to you because you've given me some of your time? That is going to set you apart because one, you're not just taking, now you're offering to give. How can I add value to you? And some will say, well, I would love to connect again. This has been great meeting with such a young leader. Can you and I schedule a call or a time to connect again? What would be a good time for you to meet? And then also I'll provide you with the contacts of the people that you said, who do I know that you should know? I've got a couple people in mind that I would love to connect you with. Now, what does all this have to do with commerce? Well, each of you are going to grow in your own right. Each of you are going to I believe, mature into leaders. I tell all Dallas Baptist University students that it's important for them to learn how to communicate, but how to develop social capital, to develop networks, because that is so key in your future. But how can I add value to you? These are my 7 questions. I am now available to take Q&A. I know we ate up a little bit of time in the beginning, unfortunately, just due to my technical difficulties. But that does conclude my presentation over 7 questions that every person should ask an influencer.
Thank you very much, sir, for the informative session. And we are sure that the process of exploring and inquiring has begun in the minds of students and parents. Over to the moderator.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for patiently bearing with us.
Absolutely.
And we do apologize for the technical bearing that you faced in the initial session. Thank you very much, sir. So the first question from the audience part is, what are the activities that can be included in the school setup that help a student to inculcate leadership values in them?
Yes, that's a great question. So first of all, we're a very unique university in the sense that every incoming freshman is required to do, many universities will do a humanities course. At DBU, we believe in rolling up our sleeves and actually putting our hands to work. And what I mean by that is to create a holistic, perfect candidate for any career opportunity is that we want to see students go out and serve within the community, to give back. Dallas Baptist University has formed hundreds, 400 plus what we call community partners. These are nonprofits here in North Texas that students will go and serve for 18 hours at various locations at anything that you're passionate about. We have a list of 400. And what we do is we encourage students to go and to learn from these nonprofits, to connect face-to-face with these nonprofit institutions, to understand how they operate, how they grow, to actually serve the people in the community who are in need. And what we believe is that community service really does develop a very educated and civic-minded professional. And so that is one very practical way that sets us apart. We do over 100,000 hours of community service as a university every single year because the thousands of students who attend here will go their freshman year and serve. I have so many wonderful stories of so many different students that we interact with that have really had a heart change of being able to help someone maybe perhaps less fortunate or help somebody in need. And so that is one way that we would practically set somebody up. Again, when I talk about DBU, we really are working and striving to develop the next generation of leaders.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate the importance that DBU give for inculcating that community service and that kind of the community service and its bearing upon its students, how it can develop the humanitarian values among the students. So that's an excellent idea that you have shared with us. So because of time constraint, we are winding up with the Q&A sessions. Thank you once again for patiently answering the questions, sir. Over to you, the comparers.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the insightful answers. We have many queries, and yes, the students can access the mobile app and the questions will be directly addressed. Now let us watch a video clip Find Your Path Students Testimonial.
You should definitely come to DBU. You will thoroughly enjoy your experience here. I've been able to learn so much about the American culture and so much about international cultures as well. And DBU is the one place that you can do both. You can really just learn about the whole world, and that's been amazing to me.
When we are here, we are so far from family, but we are never without family, because there's a new people that God put in our lives just to care about us.
Every day, DBU graduates live out their God-given callings and lifelong dreams. Across the world, from the moment a student sets foot on campus, our faculty and staff equip students with the right skills and knowledge needed to be successful in business and in life. Find your path, pursue your calling, start your journey today at Dallas Baptist University.
As we draw the end of this enriching,
I was looking for a
As we
program
draw-
that could enhance my strategic thinking and also being able to tackle the complexities that we find in business today.
As we draw the end of this enriching session, I deem it my great privilege to propose the vote of thanks. We extend our heartfelt thanks to our eminent speaker, Ms. Mythili, for all her words of motivation. Thank you, ma'am. We express our gratitude for the spokesperson, Mr. John C. Pendergrass of the DBU, for sharing us details and giving us an overview of the career guidance. Thank you. Our deepest sense of appreciation and gratitude to Chairman Dr. Shivakumar Manikam and the members of the Board of Directors of Indian Schools in Oman. Our heartfelt thanks to the President, Mr. Ajayan Payara, and members of the Indian School Baush's Schools Management Committee, and the Principal of the school, Dr. Bhavesh Balarao. We request the participants to kindly fill in the feedback form posted in the chat window. We present a video on our valued sponsors, and heartfelt thanks to our platinum sponsors, Jane deemed to be University, gold sponsors, De Montfort University, silver sponsors, Dallas Baptist University, USA, Grey Matters, SP Jain School of Global Management, Sri Ramachandra Institute of Higher Education and Research, and bronze sponsors, Middle East College, SP Jain School of Global Management, digital marketing partner, Spectrum and Trifle, media partner, the Arabian Stories, and valued donors, and are powered by the support sponsor. Over to the video.
An event of this kind requires the coordination of a committed team. Thank you to ISB's Avenir team for making Avenir 2022 possible. Thank you to each of the teacher, student, and parents for being a part of the session.
With these uplifting words, I, Anuradha,
And I, Prerna,
wish you all a glorious day ahead. Before we sign off, let me remind you of the upcoming sessions. The upcoming sessions are scheduled for tomorrow, 15th October 2022, from 8:30 a.m. onwards. 4 sessions of the 4 streams: Science, Engineering, Commerce, and Humanities. Online sessions for Science, Humanities, and Commerce will begin from 8:30 a.m. on YouTube and Zoom. On-site session for Engineering will be conducted at Indian School Bausha from 10 a.m. onwards. A gentle reminder to all to fill the feedback form provided in the chat window. Every attendee who submits the feedback form will receive a digital certificate. See you in the next session. Stay tuned and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.